Hello, it's Sean, back to talk about apparently slightly uncomfortable things to talk about on Steem and Steemit. But this video is going to be about all of the voting bots, and specifically the ones that you can pay for, the ones that you can make a bid for in either SBD or Steem. So here's a thought. If a content creator pays a voting bot to upvote their content, that relationship should be disclosed. Now, I know initially this kind of sounds off, like why do we have to disclose that somebody paid for an upvote? But when I was thinking about that, I thought about it from the perspective of, is this advertising? When I talk to a lot of people about these bots, they talk about how it provides value in two ways. One is ROI. So you pay for an upvote, and if you do it right, you can just make more money than you paid, which is great. The other is that these voting bots act like advertisement on the platform. And that's partly because the promoted section is just not used, right? Like if you actually want to properly advertise, it doesn't work. So people pay these voting bots to upvote their content in the hopes that it gets them higher rankings on the different tags. But I think the reality of something like that is that it is basically an advertisement. And if it's an advertisement, at least in the US, there are regulations that say you should disclose that relationship. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So how do we define what kind of advertisement this is? Initially, my thought was that this might be like an endorsement. So the FTC states that a statement made by a consumer in social media will be treated as an endorsement if, viewed objectively, it appears that the relationship between the advertiser, here that would be the content creator, and the speaker, the voting bot, is of a type that the speaker's statement, in this case the upvote, can be understood to be sponsored, paid for, by the advertiser, the content creator. I think there's a few challenges to this, obviously. One is that, well, it's not really paying because Steem Blockchain dollars are Steem, they're not really currency. But I think the reality with that is that it doesn't have to be fiat. You can pay for something in goods or services as well. And cryptocurrency is an asset, so it's an exchange of value. I think the other one is that upvotes wouldn't count as endorsements, right? Because they're not making a video, they're not sharing your post necessarily. But to this, the FCC basically says that features such as likes, pins, or shares should not be utilized in this manner because you can't properly disclose that those likes, pins, and shares have been paid for. I think the third point is that this is in some way misleading, and most people would say, well, it's not misleading because, what is it misleading them of? But I think the reality is that upvotes have some sort of implicit understanding, right? The whole Steem blockchain was built off the notion of proof of brain, so that someone is reading this post, then they choose to upvote it because they think the post has merit, they have value. The Steem blockchain is also a delegated proof of stake, meaning that people that have more stake or Steem power, in this case, their upvote is worth more. So there's a responsibility on the part of someone with a lot of Steem power to upvote things that they truly believe has merit. So when something is upvoted, and since it's based on upvotes equals merit, in the actual Steem white paper, it says every vesting user cast their votes on who did the best work. So upvotes are meant to imply that this is good work. So in that way, I think it is misleading because these bots aren't judging whether or not the work is good, despite the fact that that's what the mechanism is used to indicate. And then the fourth challenge would really be that they do disclose the relationship in the comments section. Obviously, that's a problem because the disclosure needs to be conspicuous and obvious. So the comment section is never going to be a conspicuous or obvious place. And if you look at Dmania right now, they're actually introducing filters in the comment section which won't show you comments from bots. Now, you can choose to turn that filter on and off. I'm not making a judgment of the filter, but the fact that such a filter can exist would mean that that is not a good way to disclose the relationship. So all of this is to say that I do believe that paying for upvotes is probably advertising and should be considered that in some form, or at least endorsement. The question becomes, what can we do about it? I think there are really two roads that we can go down. But first, I wanted to talk about how you would even confirm that an upvote has been paid for. I think the obvious answer is that everything on the Steem blockchain is recorded and is public. So with all of these bots, basically, to get an upvote, you send them a certain amount of Steem blockchain dollars or Steem with a link to the post that you want them to upvote in the memo. All you would have to do is track transfers to people, any two accounts that have a link in the memo with an amount of money. If that person that they sent it to ends up upvoting that link, then you can confirm that that was a paid upvote. Now, the two things that you could do to address this would be, one, either filter out all of the content that has a confirmed paid upvote from the trending and hot sections, anything that has an algorithm in it that's not meant to be gamed by paying for upvotes, filtering all of that out at a base level for whatever platform you're viewing it on. And then the second thing you could do would be to indicate that the content was upvoted through a paid voting bot with something like promoted. This is the same way that they do it on Facebook and other platforms. I think either of these methods, or both probably, is the right way to address this issue. I think I would really like to get you guys' opinion on all of this. Obviously, this is all sort of at the judgment of people and lawmakers who have no idea what Steem and Steemit is, probably. That said, I do think it's an important thing to consider. And yeah, just let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading them, but I just wanted to sort of share this thinking with you here. All right, see you guys later.